I recently posted a video in which I mentioned that I'm currently selling my 2013 Audi Q5. I've owned the vehicle for about 3 years and put roughly 30,000 miles on it, and it's been a really great vehicle overall, but unfortunately with my growing family filling up the vehicle, we need to get something that's a little bit bigger. And so it's time to say goodbye to the Audi Q5. I wanted to make a video kind of summarizing these last 3 years of ownership, share some of the high points and low points of the Q5, and give a final verdict of whether or not I would buy another 2013 Audi Q5. So starting off with some of the high points of the Q5, first of all, from an exterior styling standpoint, I continue to see the Q5 as an excellent looking vehicle. Sometimes when a new model comes out, it looks really good at first, then it's on the road for a few years and it starts to kind of wear or get a little bit dull. Likewise, you buy a vehicle and you're really excited about the style at first, and then once you get it, you see it from certain angles and it doesn't look quite as good, or you need to do modifications to give it that look that you really want out of it. And with the Q5, I've been very pleased with the vehicle since I bought it. I continue to see it as a very attractive vehicle, even with the introduction of the all-new second generation Q5, which has a little bit more modern, contemporary look. I still think the first generation Q5 looks really good. It's aged very well, and I've been very pleased with it. Every time that I see the vehicle in the garage, or my wife is driving it around town, or I see another similar model somewhere around town, I'm always kind of impressed, I guess, with the exterior style. I continue to see it as a really great looking vehicle. And then especially with the sport package that we've got on this vehicle, we've got the 20-inch wheels, a little bit of trim along the doors, sport style steering wheel. Those little features just give it that added appeal to me. And so I've been really pleased with it in that sense. And then like I said, I love the fact that with the Q5, you can buy it stock and there's not really a need to do anything to the vehicle. You don't need to add extra or nicer rims. You don't need to do lift kits. You don't need to, make little changes to modify the vehicle and give it that look that you want, because they look so good starting off in that stock form. So I've been really pleased with it from that standpoint. And then even more so than the exterior, I just love the interior of the Q5. It's got a really great look to it, high quality materials, and they've just really held up very well over time. I love the layout of the Q5. I mentioned that sports style steering wheel gives the vehicle a really sporty look. The accent colors, all the features in the Q5, it just gives it a very premium feel, and I've been very pleased with it. The other thing is that this Q5's got over 90,000 miles on it, and despite the fact that maybe it could use a little bit of a cleaning or detailing, it's held up really well over time. It continues to look really good, feel really good. There's no wearing on any of the materials. There's no parts that are broken. Everything works the way that it did or should have worked when it was brand new. And so I've been really pleased with it from that standpoint. The one weak point is that these visor clips on both sides broke, and so I had to replace those. That's kind of a weak point on Audi vehicles in general, but it's a pretty easy thing that you can fix yourself. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's pretty minor in the larger scheme of things. Otherwise, the interior has just really held up very well and continues to look very good, even 90,000 miles after it rolled off the factory floor. So I've been really pleased with it from that standpoint. The other high point of the Q5, and this is something that is kind of ironic because Audis get this reputation for not being that reliable. And for us, the Q5 has been flawless in the time that we've owned it. With the exception of those visor clips, I've done 0 repairs to the vehicle. From a mechanical standpoint, it's been flawless. I've done oil changes, I've replaced air filters, and that's it. So the vehicle has been really good for us, very solid. Audi gets this reputation for not being that reliable, and I don't really think that it's fair. The reality is that these are really reliable vehicles, but when something goes wrong, it can be very expensive to repair or replace. So we've been very fortunate to not have any of those issues go wrong with the vehicle that have cost a lot of money. But again, like I said, I think that in general, Audis are really reliable, and that's been a definite high point for the Q5. I will feel some peace of mind of selling the vehicle and not having to deal with a high mileage Audi, because I do know that when things go wrong, they're very expensive. But the reality is that it's been a really reliable vehicle, and that's a definite high point for the Q5. So those are some of the real high points of the Q5. A couple of the low points, The main one that really bothers me about the Q5 and would be the biggest hangup keeping me from buying another Q5 is the depreciation. So we bought this vehicle 3 years ago for $28,000. That was a really good deal at the time. Going back 3 years would mean that the vehicle was only 3 years old at the time. And so somebody paid close to $50,000 on it. We got it for 28. So they took an enormous hit in depreciation. Unfortunately, that depreciation has continued during the time that we've owned it. So we haven't sold the vehicle yet, but based on what I've seen so far, I started at a little over 20, thinking that maybe I could get somebody to give me that much for it. Not gonna happen. So currently I've got it listed for about $17,500. My guess is that when it's all said and done, I'm gonna get somewhere between $15,000 to $16,500 for it. So very enormous depreciation hit. Again, I've only owned the vehicle for 3 years and put 30,000 miles on it. So we haven't really used the vehicle all that much. Continues to be in really good shape, and so that's not what's affecting the depreciation. It's just the fact that it's a luxury German vehicle, and unfortunately people are scared of them, especially when they get into that high mileage territory. And so it's really unfortunate that it's going to take that kind of a depreciation hit by the time that we sell it. Something you definitely want to keep in mind if you're looking to get into an Audi, because it's something that's epidemic, not only with Audis, but again, all German vehicles and really luxury vehicles in general. Now, the other kind of downside of the Q5, and it's not really a critique of the vehicle, it's more of a lesson learned for myself. If I was going to buy a Q5 again, this vehicle's got the 3.0T, which is a 3-liter supercharged V6. It's got 272 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and it will do 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. It's a very quick vehicle. Likewise, I mentioned we've got that sport package with the 20-inch wheels. Both of those combined give the vehicle more of a sporty ride than a luxurious ride. And they also affect the fuel economy. Now, if I was driving the Q5 myself on a regular basis, I would definitely go with the 3.0T. It's a really fun vehicle to drive. It's very quick, very aggressive. But unfortunately, I didn't drive the Q5 that often. My wife drove the Q5 the majority of the time, and she doesn't really appreciate the added horsepower, the harsher ride that you get with the sport package. And then again, you have that downside of the fuel economy. Likewise, when I would go with her places, she didn't appreciate it if I drove the vehicle really aggressively. So I didn't really get to enjoy the full benefits of having, the more powerful engine and that sport package. And so I would say that for me personally, knowing that my wife was going to drive this vehicle primarily, I would have gone with the 2-liter turbo. With that engine, it's a little bit quieter, it's a little smoother, and then you're getting better fuel economy. So it'd save several miles per gallon, plus you're spending less money on it to begin with because it's a less expensive engine. So kind of a lesson learned. I don't know that I'd say that it's really a downside of the Q5, it's just something that I would keep in mind if I was going to buy another Q5. So the final verdict is that I would definitely buy another 2013 Audi Q5. We have been really pleased with this vehicle during the time that we've owned it. It's been really flawless, it's been fun to drive, it's held up extremely well, and it's just a really great all-around vehicle. I'm really sad to see the Q5 go, but definitely look forward to owning other Audi vehicles going forward into the future. The only real downsides that I'd say that we've noticed with the Q5 are that depreciation. It really hurt to see the value of the vehicle drop so much. And then if we were to do it again, if I was buying this vehicle for my wife, I'd probably go with the 2-liter turbo. The 3.0T is a lot of fun to drive. It's a really great vehicle, but I don't think that she really fully enjoyed the benefits of that. And it's a little bit more sporty than what she would have probably liked overall. So I think the 2.0 would have been a really good option. Whatever the case, really great vehicle overall, and I'm definitely sad to be saying goodbye. If you have any comments or questions on the Q5, leave them in the section below. For more car videos, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.